New at 6, it was once a vibrant shopping and destination, a dining destination for locals. Regency Square Mall and its 160 stores drew in a lot of the Jacksonville community years ago. But now, decades later, much of the building sits empty.
Como puede ser verdad.
Last night I dreamt of San Pedro, just like I'd never gone. I knew the song, the young girl with eyes like the desert. It all seems like yesterday, not far away. Tropical, the island breeze, all of nature wild and free. This is where I long to be, La Isla Bonita. And when the summer played, the sun would sit so high, ring through my ears and sting my eyes, your Spanish lullaby.
Hi everybody, Anthony here with Ace's Adventures, and welcome to another episode. Welcome to the Sunshine State and to a mall that had a promising future, but in the end succumbed to the pressure of change and time. Regency Square Mall here in Jacksonville opened on March 2nd, 1967, making this Florida shopping center 2 months short of its 56th birthday as of the writing here. The mall had high hopes and was built quite literally on top of a sand dune in the middle of the sprawling area of Jacksonville known as Arlington. A $12 million project that was off to a roaring start and was the catalyst for some serious growth in the area. This mall spurred to pretty much everything that popped up in the Arlington-Jacksonville area. The mall prospered throughout the 70s and was the dominant shopping center in the area for both the fact that Jacksonville was exploding and it had no direct competition for over 20 miles. The mall thrived through the next decade and was one of the most profitable in the country and held several events that gave back to the community. They had art fairs, they had carnivals, all that kind of stuff. This place was really, really booming. 1981 came, and the mall got a massive $31 million addition, adding Sears and a relocated Ivy's department store. And as a result of the expansion, however, a unique anchor spacing took shape, meaning that the mall would be split in two by an anchor store. So you would go in one wing of the mall, go through the anchor store, and come out to the other wing of the mall, which is pretty unique and kind of hurt me in the end, which I'll explain at the end of this commentary here. The 90s approached, and the mall got another $30 million expenditure, which now saw a closed movie theater get remodeled, a sheriff's outpost was added, and a food court, as well as an Old Navy a few years later. And the mall was also sold for the first time in 1991 to General Growth Properties for $71.8 million. Several anchor changes throughout the years, and wards abruptly closing at the turn of the century, and the rise in crime of the area, and the cracks began to show. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. The mall began to face heavy competition from newer shopping centers in the area, which it did not have, and then in 2008, arguably the smoking gun, no pun intended, was laying upon this mall as a turn for the worse when an off-duty police officer shot and fatally wounded a shoplifter. Yikes. The next decade was not kind to the mall as 2014 saw the closure of Belk, followed by Sears 2 years later, and then JCPenney waved the white flag in 2020 just after COVID took off. So combine the previous factors with a now leaking roof, complaints from the city, dwindling traffic, and I think we all know where the story goes from here. So that's about all the notes I have for this mall. This is a property that I have known about for quite some time, and as I have mentioned before, working in the airline industry affords me the opportunity to travel pretty cheaply. So I said, you know what? It's a nice day. Let's hop on a plane and go to Jacksonville. This was a property that had some ups and downs for me. The tiling in this mall is great. The aesthetic of the mall is nice. It's one of those malls that I swear will not last this year. If this mall gets through 2023, I will be shocked. Unfortunately, however, there is, as I mentioned in the monologue there is another side of the mall that is blocked off, and I tried to find every feasible way to get in the other side, but it just was not possible. I don't break into places. If there is an open entry, so be it. But there was some heavy activity in the area. Of course, there was on the day that I decided to check it out. There was some maintenance workers wandering around on a golf cart, and the people from the Jacksonville Water Authority were doing some checks around the exterior of the building. So trying to sneak into this abandoned side of the mall, if there was any way, was nearly impossible. But still got to show you guys a good chunk of the property. So I'm definitely glad I got to see this place, and as you can see in the video at various points, the leaks in this mall are something like I've never seen before. I still am blown away by how this place is allowed to stay open, and how it's even making any money. Of course, that's how these places are. They just float and float and float and just kind of fly by and just stay open somehow until eventually it hits a critical point where they end up closing, and they either will get demolished right away or sit and just rot away. My best educated guess with this property is once it does close, I think it probably will be demolished very quickly. Florida is growing at a crazy pace, but this mall will probably not sit very long if it is demolished. So I am going to be keeping tabs on this place to see what happens to it. There is much more content coming from Ace's Adventures. I'm going to let the rest of the video play. Keep an eye out at the end of the video. There are two things I want you to watch out for. I found some pretty amazing pictures from back in the day from a news article on the heyday of the Regency Square Mall. And lastly, stay tuned at the very end for a special sneak peek of where I am heading next. And I promise you, in this final chapter of the next mall I'm visiting, you do not want to miss it. Lastly here, I just want to mention a couple quick things about the channel. You are going to notice an increase in the rate of content once again as we head towards the spring months. I do promise you that 2023 will be much more active than 2022 was. I've got some pretty fun aspirations, and might even see about the possibility of trickling in some international content. I am heading to Paris in about 3 weeks for my 40th birthday, which is crazy how old I am. So we're going to see if you are an international watcher of mine, please DM me on Instagram or give me a shout in the comments to let me know if there are any international malls that would be worth checking out. I definitely would like to see them if there are any available. Please do me a couple quick favors before I get out of here. Please make sure you are following me on Instagram at Aces Adventures 1, just the physical number 1. I will be going live on Instagram more often in the springtime, and I do reply to all comments in my DMs. Please consider becoming a Patreon donor at patreon.com/acesadventures. No more than $5 a month is all I ask, and please make sure you have the bell notification clicked so you know when I upload new content. You guys have a wonderful day. This is Anthony, creator of Ace's Adventures, and I will see you all back here soon with more content.
pudiese olvidar.
Last night I dreamt of San Pedro, just like I'd never gone. I knew the song, the young girl with eyes like the desert. It all seems like yesterday, not far away. Tropical, the island breeze, all of nature, world is free. This is where I long to be, La Isla Bonita. And when the sound was played, the sun was set so high, ring through my ears and sting my eyes, your Spanish lullaby. I fell in love with San Pedro. Warm wind carried on the sea, he called to me. Te dijo te amo. I prayed that the days would last, they went so fast.
That's a problem.